Welcome into Family Faceoff. I'm Courtney, Laughlin, chilling in our basement with my dad.
Yeah, part 2 already. I can't believe it.
Episode 2 of Family Faceoff. Thanks so much for joining us. Dad, we have a lot to get to in today's show. We're going to recap the first 3 games.
Yeah, let's do that right away.
What? No.
Oh,
We're not doing that.
Script already?
Yeah, off script already.
Okay.
Follow the rundown.
Okay.
We have a couple great interviews. We're going to go through what we liked, what we didn't like. But first, before we get to that,
Yep.
Do I get any place on this table to put anything? What is going on?
Well, it's all about notes, Courtney. It's all about preparation precedes success. Remember, I've told you that before when you play hockey, and you are like Joe B next to me today.
I have
right?
no
He
space
gets very
on the
little
table.
room, and I get all my notes plastered over the table in front of me.
So in one of your games versus Buffalo,
Yep.
I actually ended up taking this picture because I'm watching you guys do the broadcast, and Joe B is sitting nice, professionally, and polished at the desk, and he's got
Always
one little
is,
nice
by the
piece
way.
of paper.
Always is.
And then there's you, literally all of your notes just like this. And Dad, I asked you, I was like, save your notes, because so many fans, when I tweeted that picture, were like, what is going on? What does your dad have on there? So these are your notes from the Buffalo game.
Yes, they are.
I'm getting a headache looking at them. What is going on?
Okay, let me go through it. First of all, for the fans out there, at the start of a game, we get a rundown. And this is a rundown of everything we're going to be doing, hopefully, during the course of a Caps game. A lot of the time, it's put together by the producer, and he gives it to us so we know sort of a rundown. He doesn't tell us what to say, but he gives us a rundown of what we're going to be talking about. So I've, over the years, made notes with Sharpies, and that's because as you get over 60, Courtney, people will know this, your eyes start to go. So I like to have Sharpies, and this year I've decided to take it another step. I've color-coded. So if you look at all the blue ink, that is the Sabres. All the black ink is about the Caps. So now I can quickly look at it, and for people out there, it's all about preparing. I know all this, but if I want to make sure I'm correct on what I'm stating, I can quickly look down at my notes, find the notes. Yes, I can find them on this scratch piece of paper.
I'm thinking, I'm like, how do you know?
Can. And then I've decided to put them on cardboard this year because we're playing Buffalo 8 times. These are the bios of the Buffalo Sabres. These are the bios of the Washington Capitals. So I have a good background check on the cardstock so they don't get crumpled up like this one looks. Okay? And before every game, I do new sheets of paper for every Caps game.
It looks like organized chaos.
Right. And
little
I got
bit?
heat after you sent out that picture. Even Joe B said, my friends are texting me and saying, Locker has a sloppy look on the table. So if you watch my second game, all my notes were covered. Joe does his on the computer. I do these by hand so I can quickly memorize them over the course of the game.
So-
what were people saying? I want to hear this, and I want to know who they are.
Okay, well, I'm not going to call people out on it.
I'm going to.
The Caps fan 74 said that your dad looks like he's piecing together a conspiracy theory.
That could be true, too.
I mean, your dad knows best. Yeah, whatever. This is what my 6th grade teacher used to call an organized mess.
Organized chaos on the ice and off the ice.
I like this one from Frank. 1 obviously studied for the exam. Craig
Thank
obviously
you.
didn't.
Wait a second. I thought
You
Frank
didn't
said
because you need your notes to cheat.
I thought he was saying I obviously studied and Joe did not. That's probably the correct
Okay,
statement.
one
but
other
whatever.
thing, Dad, that I want to know, because I've been watching you do this
Yes.
for years, right?
Okay.
And so many times, I
Yep.
mean, talk about like,
Okay,
the apple
hold
not
on.
falling far from the tree. I use Sharpie now too, right? Like that's how I write my notes. But I want to know, once you use a stat, right? Because all of these things have different
Right.
stats, and you
Right.
have caps notes and things that you want to remember to
Right.
say. You don't cross them off. Because you're like, I've used this one already.
I do cross them off, but a lot of times I'll circle them because, for example, this one here, no flying, no cheating. That was something that Laviolette said in a press conference.
Okay.
No flying, no cheating. And that just tells you the story that you have to have, or this one, don't think offense until you have the puck. So I sort of get quotes, I get anecdotes that I want to use throughout a telecast. I'll circle them, but yes, then I will cross them off. For example, perfect cross off of a note I used during the game. Hopefully the game's great and I can just talk about what's happening on the ice and the great plays Ovi makes and Nick makes and Carlson makes and great saves by either of the young goalies. But I like to have this as a cushion that we can discuss stuff while the play's going on.
So last question about your organized chaos.
Yep.
About how long does it take you to prepare for a game?
Probably a day and a half, usually the night before, watching some video, and then the morning of the game, really go over the statistical analysis of what's going on, just so I have them so I can look at trends and stuff like that.
Well, this looks like a
But it's the same
pig
amount.
pen over here. I mean, I'm nice and
well, I will
tailored.
tell you this: Family Faceoff is generally 3 days. A Caps game is 1 day. Okay, because I'm producer, director, and talent. That's a hard thing.
That is not true. Who put together the rundown today?
Tommy
okay.
McFly.
Okay.
Thanks,
No
Tommy.
comment. All right. Well,
Because I
thank
ripped
you.
them last game, so I have to thank him today.
What are your notes for today's show?
It's all about thumbs up and thumbs down about the first 3 games. So I'm going to start with thumbs up.
Okay.
Thumbs up, the way the Capitals are offensively aggressive. I love the new trend of the defense pinching on the soft side or weak side of the ice, putting a lot of pressure on the opposition's wingers. I think it's going to pay dividends as the third forwards gets more used to it. I love that style of system.
I liked their offensive creativity. I can't tell you the last time that I've watched the Caps where I felt like once they got into the offensive zone, they were creative. They were free-flowing. They were less robotic, it seemed to me, when I was watching them. And I think in years past, it was, look, like as a player, when your coach tells you to do something, your mind might not do that, but you're like, oh, shoot, I have to go there, or I have to go there, even though I don't want to, but that's the system that the coach has told me to do. So I feel like I saw a lot more offensive creativity from the Caps, and I loved that. 11 goals for the first 3 games, 119 shot attempts.
Great job by the Caps. Yeah, and you make a good point, because remember last show in Family Faceoff 1, I mentioned the 3 zones.
Yep.
The work zone's a D zone, the speed zone's a neutral zone, and the fun zone's the offensive zone, and I saw that too. When it comes to thumbs down, and there is always a negative side or something I want to improve, the Caps' third line has to find chemistry. I think they need that offensive firepower. A lot of the offense came from their top 6 in the blue line. The 4th line chipped in. I love the 4th line. Now it's the 3rd line, and it's going to be a rotating winger setup because you've got Eller and Panik as mainstays right now, it seems, through the 3 games. Now it's got to be someone else to step up. They tried Sherry. They've tried Sprong, and it's going to be interesting to see who they settle on moving forward. But that line definitely has to generate more offense and more zone time. That's my thumbs down.
Do you see them at some point flipping back to what the 3rd line used to be with Hagelin and Eller?
Sure,
and
when things don't go wrong, as a coach, you go back to the things that worked in the past. But I think he wants to experiment and see what some of these guys can do playing that 3rd line. Hasn't been the same, by the way, since Brett Connolly left and headed south to Florida.
And that's something that they obviously want to get, is that secondary scoring from that 3rd line.
What's your thumbs down?
All right, my thumbs down, the thing that I did not like in the first 3 games, and I feel like this is a storyline that we talk about a lot with the Caps, or at least lately, too many penalties. Way too many penalties for the Caps. Nick Backstrom even said the penalties have to go after their last game against the Penguins. Look, there's going to be penalties in a game, right?
Absolutely.
You're going to be sent to the box, but for me, it's the avoidable ones. It's the stick infractions. When you look at the last couple games, 2 slashes, 3 trips, a cross-check, interference, 2 holds, a hook, all stick infractions, which means you're not in the right position. You're either cheating and now you're reaching, or you're not coming back into the zone quick enough and you're maybe a step behind and now you're hooking.
It's correctable.
Yes.
But I will say this. It's a trend that's lingered from last year.
Totally.
And that's what Backstrom and company are worried about. Let's stop it right now, because it takes away the flow. It puts our penalty killers under duress. I mean, last game, I think, against Pittsburgh, Char penalty killed close to 5 minutes. Way too long for the penalty killing to be on the ice.
In the second period versus Pittsburgh, they only had 3 shots on net.
There you go.
So you're never going to generate that offense. You're never going to generate that flow. You're not going to get Ovechkin out there in a rhythm, because now you're sending your penalty killers out there and you can't get into a full rotation of lines. They have the worst penalty differential in the NHL.
Yep, not enough for and too many against.
So not good. They've definitely got to clean that up. So that's my thumbs down for the Caps. again, hey, still a long season
Only
ahead of us.
3 games. And to further our thoughts on this, I tracked down Ken Sabourin, a good friend of ours, does the color with John Walton on Washington Caps radio. Great guy, former NHLer, big burly defenseman, great on the alumni team, by the way. He's probably the only guy in shape. All right, Sabby, your take of the first 3 games so far for the Caps.
Well, I look at the first game. I think adrenaline took over that first game. The first 2 periods were very good. I thought they were playing at a fast pace, moving up, forcing the other team, turnovers. And then fatigue, I think, set in the third period. A little slow, sloppiness. I think reality that what we're going to see here probably for the next 2-3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then the second game, they found a way to win against an inferior team, obviously. And then the third game against Pittsburgh could have went either way. Shootout, who knows? It's a skills contest really doesn't really prove anything. But I thought they could have been a lot better in terms of sloppiness against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They got some good goaltending at times that kind of kept them in it. But yeah, it's going to be a work in progress, I think, for another 2 or 3 weeks.
So what's your take now on the new D pairings? Do you like them? Obviously, that was one of the big things that the Caps did in the offseason was bringing them some defensemen. So what's your take on the Caps' new D pairings?
Well, first of all, I think it's good. They have a little balance in the D pairing. So, they don't have to use John Carlson, for 25, 26 minutes a game anymore. They can put out any of the pairings. I thought I'm really impressed with Chara and and number 3,
Jensen. Yeah,
Jensen's pairing. I really like them. I think they've been very good. Obviously, Peter Laviolette likes them too. They've been out for the start of a lot of penalty kills. Been getting the ice time. Chara's been doing his job, and everybody thought coming into this a back-to-back game was, how's Chara going to handle it? So far, so good. Over 20 minutes and back-to-back didn't bother him. So. It's early in the season, I know that, but I think he's really settled that third pairing down, really settled the whole D down. And I guess the big thing is how's number 9 and 74, Orlov and Carlson, going to, treat themselves here in the next couple of weeks. And if they can find a way to get it done, I think having the 3 equal pairings adds a lot of, the coaching staff can do a lot more with it instead of just wearing 2 guys out the whole time.
So one of the other things that we've seen is in this new system with Laviolette is the defense pinching a lot in the offensive zone. Do you like that philosophy with having the Caps do that more? And what are the keys to
Courtney,
do that?
have you ever seen him play in an alumni game? I think he's a forward half the time.
But there's a lot of communication that has to go on to make sure that you can execute that correctly, right? Otherwise, you're going to have guys flying around the zone. I don't know. So do you have you liked what you saw so far with the Caps kind of implementing that new system?
Yeah, I love it. I love the new system, but it's similar to like the defense, a man on man, because if you blow your assignment, if that third guy's not high, your D guy's not backing you up, then it's an odd man rush. So, and as we know, these guys are pretty talented in the NHL. They can make it pay, but I like it. I like the aggressiveness in the offensive zone. I really like it in the neutral zone, the D pinching up, not giving them time and space, force them to dump that puck in and make it a foot race back there. So I think if they can continue to play, it'll be a fast-paced game. It'll take away a lot of time and space for these good players they're playing against. As we know, Locker, coming through the neutral zone is where they create all the offense.
Correct.
Right.
So if you can lock that up and make it miserable for them, they'll get frustrated and they'll start dumping the puck in.
Sabby, before we let you go, we talk about the Pittsburgh Capitals rivalry. Well, you broke into the league in the Battle of Alberta, Edmonton and Calgary. And for fans out there that don't know, it's only about a 3-hour drive. It is a heated rivalry. And I understand at one point early on in your career, you had a little run-in with the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's early. It was my first game ever.
Was it really?
Really early, So I'll give you, it was a Battle of Alberta. There was a lot of Battle of Alberta, but this was Wayne got traded to L.A. So he's in L.A., and so is McSorley, so is Baumgartner, so is Jay Miller. They had everybody. So my first game up, we're playing L.A. I get called up, and I'm, just go, the coach tells me, just go out there and play normal, relax, whatever. So as a rookie, you're going back. Anything you do is magnified, right? So
Correct.
You don't want to get in trouble. So there's an icing call. They ice the puck, and I'm probably about at the center ice or so. look beside me, and I see an LA King. I didn't really think about it, so I'm skating,
And it's touch icing back in the day.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yes, touch icing.
You'd peel your face off the glass. But so I look over again, and it happened to be Wayne. And, and I'm looking, I'm like, well, I can't get beat. I don't care if it's Wayne Gretzky. I can't get beat to that icing. So I'm going as hard as I can. Probably he's just coasting, And so I get down there in the corner. I touched the puck, and he fell. And I kind of nudged him. And no kidding, I think a feather wouldn't even move. He went flying. So I'm in the corner. He's underneath me. I got my hands on the boards because I'm ready to fall over. And he's right underneath me. I turn around and look, and I see 3 guys coming with no gloves. And I'm like, this isn't going to be good, right? So I turn again, and they're coming, and it's McSorley, Jay Miller, and Baumgartner. My luck, they're all in the ice.
That's a great line right there. I'll tell you that.
Great line. No sticks, no gloves.
They didn't play with them.
Oh my! So, anyways, I get in there, and they start beating the crap out of the back of my head. And then luckily I had Hunter and Gary Roberts on the ice too. So we once we got in there, we equaled out. But that was I had welts on the back of I couldn't wear my helmet the next day.
Wow.
But then I ended up fighting McSorley. My first fight ever was McSorley. Then this is the same scrimmage. Then Gary Roberts fought him, and then Tim Hunter fought him.
Wow.
I'm in the box from the first fight, still breathing hard, and he's fighting 3 guys. And I'm thinking, what did I get myself into here? So, after the game, as you know, Locker, we went for a couple drinks, and, I saw Baumgartner. I kind of knew him a little, and I said, we're talking. I go, are we done? He goes, no, we're never done. So, back to back, 2 days later, we go back to Calgary, get out there in the second period, another 5-on-5 brawl because of it. And we get kicked out again. So my first 2 games ever, I was kicked out, and I was kind of glad not to see them for a little while.
That is old-time hockey, Sabby. And remember, as we finish up this interview, tell John Walton fans want to hear the color guy, okay?
Yes, exactly.
Real lesson, John, more you, Sabby.
I got my engineer to give me one of those things that you can mute your play-by-play.
I need one of them.
Yes, so do I, working with him.
Sabby, thanks for the visit. You're the best, man. Thank you
so much.
All right, take care.
Do you remember your first game?
I remember my first game in Detroit against the Red Wings. I remember the coach walking in. It was Bob Berry at the time with the Montreal Canadiens back in 1981. And he said to me, Craig, you're going to play left wing tonight. And I was like, left wing? I'm a right shot. It wasn't like changing wings now like Ovi, who can fire it off that left side. So I had a tough time controlling the blue liners, actually. And I remember the blue liners getting a lot of shots because I wasn't close to them. I wasn't timing it right to get out to them. I didn't understand coming from the American League to the NHL how tough it is. And, from that day forward, I will say this. I had my worst games ever when I played against the Detroit Red Wings.
Really?
In their building. Worst games ever.
You had some traumas with your first game.
Yeah, and I had trauma.
And brought back some negative memories.
And the one trauma is, I will say this, Lane Lambert, who used to be a coach here.
Yep.
And now coaches with the New York Islanders. To this day, we laugh when we talk to one another because at center ice at Detroit, him and I dropped the gloves and we fought. And I wasn't a big fighter. Yes.
How come I didn't hear that? I've never heard this story.
Okay. And so he says he caught me with a punch and I was bleeding above my eye. I actually fell down because he was wrestling or something and threw me to the ice and my head hit the ice. I was cut open, and I remember sitting on the bus all stitched up, having a brewski after the game on the way to the airport, and it was
beers on the bus?
Oh, yeah. Back in the day, yes. That was a big part of our diet. And so what happened is to this day, he says, thank God, Locker, I one-punched you. And I always say, Lane, I think I got the win because I drilled you. You turtled. And we still have an ongoing battle. But from that day forward, my first game to the end of my career, I finally scored in Detroit. I had scored in just about every other rink, but I had never scored in Detroit. And I scored with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I know you're trying to punch up the fight. And no one's been able to find the tape. And even Lane can't find it. I say I've got it somewhere, and I still to this day believe I won the fight.
I just want to know because hockeyfights.com says who won and who lost.
Every one of my fights, I've already went through this, and turn that off. I went through that with Alan Mann. He says I lost every one, so turn it off.
You're 0 for 10.
Yes, we don't need this on this show.
I think this is great.
Why is everybody ripping me
You
recently?
can go to hockeyfights.com and search Craig Laughlin to check out his fights. I know what I'm doing later. I'm going to watch all of
I didn't
these.
win any.
Okay.
Let's get back on track.
All right, let's talk about
Yes.
the Caps. One other thing that we want to talk about, we've given our takes on what we liked, what we didn't like. We heard from Ken Sabourin. We got to give some nods and kind of talk about the goaltending situation for the Caps and the two goalies, Samsonov and Vanacek.
Yep.
Vanacek got his first win as an NHL goalie against the Buffalo Sabres.
Yep.
Which is great. I mean, I thought he looked great. And one of the things that I found interesting was that when a couple years ago in the Caps organization, they wanted to tweak a couple things in his game. And that was they wanted him to stand a little taller in his net. He was a little bit too much hunched over. And this is what Scott Murray was saying about what they wanted him
So you
to
have better
work on.
coverage up top instead of leaning forward as a goalie.
And better balance. And
not over your toes, more in the center of your...
Correct. And better power. And when he wasn't standing tall in his net, this limited his ability to kind of track the puck, which is such a big thing now, right? As you always want to make sure that you're tracking the puck. So I was impressed, to be honest, from Vanacek. I love the way that he looked. I thought he kept the Caps in that game versus the Buffalo Sabres. I thought he was one of the best players on the ice.
Yep.
So incredible. He did get a shaving cream pie to the face in the post-game interview.
We never, ever got them back in the day.
Which is crazy.
I know.
Why?
I
Beers
don't-
on the bus, but no shaving cream?
I don't know. It was we would do pranks, I think, during practice more than anything. 2-0-1, so you can't be complaining too much. I think when you look at Samsonov, I think he had some unlucky breaks, the mishandles of the puck. They work on that in practice. They've worked on that with Vanacek and Samsonov. Again, you're going to have a process for these guys with his first game, with his 27th game.
Right.
They're still newbies as far as being starters. I think Samsonov looked a little disjointed in some of his movements more than I've seen him in the past. And
Yeah.
to me, that just comes from confidence, getting back into the groove, getting back to playing. Anytime, battling the injury that he had, all those type of things. Now you've got to get ready for him to perform like he did at the start of last season. I think he will. I'm confident in the two young goalies. I said it in the first telecast. Age doesn't bother me. Experience, you learn. And then you become experienced. You will make mistakes because that's the experience process. Vanacek, you could see in his DNA the fact that he's played 5 years in the American Hockey League, played in the Czech Elite League. I loved his calm. And as a player, calm goalies make you feel better. When they're flopping around, I hate to say this, like some of the goalies I had, you sort of get nervous the next one's going in.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that with either of them, and they're both going to get stronger. I'm okay with the Caps goaltending situation.
Good. I am too.
Yeah.
I thought that was good.
We're good.
I feel confident. They looked confident. And you're right, Dad. There is something about, especially when that first shot it gets taken on your goaltender, you're like, what's going to happen? Is he going to let it in? Is he not?
Is he going to be on balance? Is he going to challenge? Is he
Yep.
going to be confident? All those things go through your head.
So just one other note about Vanacek. He stopped 30 of his 31 shots faced. So, I mean, a great game by him. I know a lot of the players after that game, too, said that he kept them in the game, that he did a great job. So that's what I don't think you could ask much more from a goaltender, especially playing in their
Correct.
first game. Dad, you were talking about pranks and having some fun. I know
Yep.
we want to have some fun on this show. We've talked a lot of hockey, but we're going to talk some beer and some alcohol.
Yeah. Locker libations. I love it.
Because this is really exciting. You have done a beer collaboration before with Aslan.
Yes.
You came out with Locker 18 last year and last
Loved it.
February.
Juicy IPA.
And you're a huge IPA person.
Yes.
I have no idea what that means or what's even in it. I'm like a wine person. Give me a
Because I
bottle
drank
of
too
wine.
much Bud Light when I was playing.
Oh, so now you like the fancy stuff.
Good to be here, Courtney. G'day, Craig.
The brewmaster from Astro Brewing. Can you tell us about the beer that we're doing with you guys in the collaboration between Astro and the Laughlin Family Foundation? Because I know my dad's pretty excited about it.
pumped. The Wicked Wrister is going to be kick butt, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, and I think you're understating it, mate. I think it's going it's going to be awesome. We're super psyched about it. We've been like watching it. fermented it a little bit higher to get that juicy character coming out, like really accentuates some of the hop oils. So we used Amarillo to accentuate some of the peach early on, followed by Centennial. And that's to bring out some of the orange characteristics. And then we used a new hop on the market called Sabourin, and we're pretty excited about that hop. It really displays some unique character.
How long has the process been, and when can we expect to have it canned and ready to go for all our great fans out there?
Yeah, so I think we got together on this brew day, Craig, when we made this together on the 6th. We're expecting this to be canned around the 27th. So it's a 21-day turnaround. And the reason for that is after we dry hop, once we settle and have everything ready for packaging, we want to get all that hoppy goodness in the can and packaged and out to you. And, that's something that in our talks together that you really, really loved about and the beers that we love have in common.
Is there hockey in New Zealand, Matt?
I think there's a team.
Have you ever watched hockey over there in your home country?
Yeah. My nephew has they've come over and visited, and they have Caps jerseys. So yeah, they're pretty stoked to see the championship.
Awesome.
Back a couple of years ago, but usually it's summertime in New Zealand, so most of us are outdoors fishing and whatnot. So if you come home or it's a rainy day, it might be on one of the broadcast channels there. But the time zone and whatnot. But there are certainly some fans, and now that every time I go back, I see more and more jerseys worn around the neighborhood.
Well, we're going to make you into a big fan. So where can people order Wicked Wrister, and how can they get their hands on it?
Yeah, we hope to have Wicked Wrister in the cans next Wednesday, Thursday. And I believe we'll do some pre-orders early next week, which will be available through astrolabbrewing.com on our online ordering platform. And then we'll be going out to, obviously through the foundation as well. And just look through our website. Everything will be on our social media along with the Laughlin social media page.
Yeah. Well, we're very excited. And
I have a beer and a coffee. Not a bad mix, right?
You're a true champion, man.
Well, we obviously thank you so much for kind of everything that you're doing also with our foundation, helping shed light on what we're trying to do with raising money for rare cancer. So we love this collaboration, and we're very excited as some of the proceeds that you guys are doing with this collab will go back to our foundation to help us in our mission to raise cancer. So I can't wait to try it. I can't wait.
I know where I am next Wednesday and Thursday. I'll tell you that.
I thought we were doing a show.
Oh, that's right. It has to be Thursday.
Yeah, and just on the Astrolab side, we're super excited about the beer, and but the more important reason we're here is to support the Laughlin Foundation, and with its cause to try and fight and help rare forms of cancer. And it was an easy one for us to get in behind, and we're super psyched about it, and wish for all the success in the future. So please get out and support it.
Wicked Wrister, Dad, available January 27th at Astrolab Brewery. I can't believe you got another beer.
Yeah.
Are you going to name one after me next time or what?
I might. I'm going to use a lot of hockey names first, but I'm thinking of naming one after you for sure, Courtney.
Oh,
I think when it
Dad.
comes down to it, we're so excited because we're trying to find a cure for rare cancers.
Yep.
We're trying to give back to the community. You're going to get a delicious beer that you're going to be able to pre-order starting in about a week. You can go on their website, astrobrewing.com, I think astrolabbrewing.com. You can check out the website. You can call them. Every single 4-pack, I am signing one beer on every one. Personally signing it. So every 4-pack will have a signature. And I'm going to sit there, and she told me I think there's 2,000 cans I have to sign.
Wow.
So that's a lot of 4-packs that we're trying to sell. We hope to sell out, and we hope Caps fans join our cause and help us out and enjoy a nice beverage.
So a percentage of the proceeds from these beers will be going to our foundation, the Laughlin Family Foundation, to help us in our fight against rare cancers. So something that's obviously very near and dear to our hearts, and we're glad that there are some organizations and companies out there that believe in our mission
You
and our
got to
fight.
get back to the craft beer places around here. The DMV is booming with craft beer people, and they do a wonderful job. And they've been hit hard because of this COVID situation, but they've stepped forward like a lot of these companies do in a great cause. And I can't wait to sip one on probably, am I got a game on the 28th? I don't even know. But if I've got no game maybe if I have a game, I got to take a sip. A wicked risk.
Let's just hope we don't have Family Faceoff.
So let's talk about the upcoming schedule.
Yeah, let's break that down. So the Caps play Pittsburgh again. They've got another 2 games against Buffalo, which starts their homestand. And then they finally see a new team, which is the Islanders. For me, Dad, moving forward with the Caps, I just want to see them play a full 60. And I know like coaches say that all the time and announcers say that all the time, play a full 60. But if you still have to come out there and be like, okay, we're not going to take any shifts off. We're going to stay out of the penalty box. We're not going to take our foot off the gas, because once you do that, you let the other team kind of get into the game. So I really want to see that this next week of how the Caps can not take any shifts off and just keep coming after these teams.
They were talking a lot about puck management, making sure they secure the puck, make good plays with the puck, be strong on the puck. I think that's going to carry over. Hey, they started the season off with 5 or 6 points. They've got a tough one against Pittsburgh. They got back-to-back against, or 2 games against Buffalo, Friday, Sunday. And by the way, fans, remember, Sundays is an afternoon game. There was a time change. It's 3 o'clock so that the Buffalo Sabre fans can watch the Buffalo Sabres at 3 and their Buffalo Bills at 6. So that's why the game was changed from 7. But we'll be on air, Joe B and I, and then we start the Islanders. It's a 6-game homestand. The Caps can put a lot of points together. They got to keep climbing. I know they're in first now, but that's only 3 games in. Let's keep winning.
They got to. So you can check all those games out on NBC Sports Washington. You can watch Dad with all these notes and all this chaos.
You'll probably hear the same stuff too, fans, because I'm not sure I have any more information to give out on Friday and Sunday.
Oh, against Buffalo.
Yeah.
All these are
These are all
crossed up.
Buffalo notes.
So what are you going to talk about?
Probably redo them. And Joel said, did you hear that before? And I said, no, I didn't use that
Oh,
one.
you can reuse stats, can't
yeah.
you?
Reuse stories, reuse stats for sure.
Okay, well, you can catch Dad on NBC Sports Washington for all of these games.
You're going to hear the same stories on Family Faceoff.
Oh, okay.
Just keep watching.
Okay.
One will come back around. You wait and see.
All right, there you go. All right, well, thank you guys for joining in on episode 2 of Family Faceoff. You can catch the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also watch. What?
Keep going. Watch.
Okay.
Keep
you
going.
can also watch it. realfundc.com/familyfaceoff, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We're all over the place.
Big announcement.
Yes.
We're all also on Caps 24/7. So we're excited to be part of that with John Walton, John Anthony. So get your Family Faceoff fix throughout the social media stratosphere. I'm not sure all those things that you mentioned, Court, but I do know a lot of the things that we're on. It seems like we're just booming.
Okay. Well, we're booming. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Go Caps!